may know him best as a TV/screen actor. He's also known as a tourist himself in the Vancouver area, with his own company, Vancouver Film and TV Tours. But you may know him best as playing the character of Steve on Great American Family's Christmas on Candy Cane Lane, starring alongside Andrea Barber and Dan Payne this past year. I'm so pleased and honored to present Austin Trapp as my guest on today's episode of My World with Stories podcast. How are you? It's been a long, crazy year. Are you ready for 2023? Because we're literally about to enter it any day.
Yeah, I'm actually one of the people that gets really sentimental at the end of each year, also birthdays as well. And yeah, took the opportunity recently to do some journaling, kind of reflecting on this last year, last 2 years, and I'm super excited for 2023. I think there's been a lot of shifts in not only my personal life, but my professional life as well that are really going to set me up for a good 2023 with doing some projects recently and doing a bit of traveling is always nice to kind of reflect. So yeah, I'm in a really good headspace and really looking forward to 2023 and beyond.
Great. That sounds great. Yeah. So let's just jump right in. So
yeah, for sure.
How did you get started into what you do today, acting on the screen? Because a lot of people have a different start, but what's your start?
Yeah. It's kind of, I wouldn't say a traditional one. I got started in acting a little bit later in life. So I did a university degree in something completely different. I got a Bachelor of Science and was an athlete my whole life and studied the sciences and learned all about the body. And then towards the end of that degree, I was like, I don't want to do any more education. I'm so tired of it. All the exams and textbooks and lectures. And it was just, I needed to make a shift, but I didn't quite know what that was yet. So what I ended up doing is I went traveling. So I traveled to 35 countries and really kind of grew into myself as you might see today. I used to be more of a shy person. And if anyone knew me back in, 2015, they'd be like, Austin becoming an actor? Yeah, right. So yeah, that kind of traveling allowed myself to open up and see the world and the opportunities. And I wanted to try a different, unconventional career. I really liked making videos. And I started with some modeling, and then that kind of led me into just kind of jumping into acting with both feet, essentially, and started taking some classes in Vancouver in late 2017. I did a diploma. And then from there, I just started taking more classes and got the agent. And as I started to do it more and more, I started to realize how much I really enjoyed it and what my purpose was with being an actor and being creative and finding more of the artistic side of myself.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different start, and I think that's so interesting because some people they already know from the moment they were born that they wanted to do this, and
yeah,
go in a different direction.
Part of me kind of wishes, I'm like, oh, I wish I started acting younger, but that was just my path. And I guess what you could gather from me is, it's never too late. And I think also there's something to be said about what makes a really good actor is someone who has life experience, who's been through a variety of experiences, because you're essentially, telling different characters' stories and putting a piece of yourself in every character you play. So I think with my different life experiences and I really worked hard when I got into it. So those things coupled together really allowed me to kind of progress at maybe a quicker rate than some, but everyone kind of has their own progression.
Yeah, totally. When did you realize okay, I'm now an actor? When did you realize okay, I'm good at this, I should keep doing this?
Oh, okay, yeah, good question. I don't know if there was an aha moment, but I definitely say early on, even in the acting classes I took, I was definitely not the most talented person. There were some people where it seemed to come really naturally for them. I was confident, but I almost would find myself doing too much. With acting, you got to kind of not act, essentially. You got to just talk, but some people, when they start out acting, they think it's got to be a big thing. And that took me a minute to kind of figure out. But to start feeling like, okay, I could do this, there might be a future in this for me. Might have been my first like kind of larger project. So it would have been, I was on set for Man in the High Castle, and it was still like pretty early on in my career. And it was just kind of that like prototypical Hollywood moment. You're surrounded by 50 extras and they have the smoke machines going off. And yeah, just that first experience of being on set was a moment where I was like, okay, I really like this. This is why I do all the training, and this is why I want to do it more and more. So that thing, and then I did a music video that was like sort of big in Canada. And that was the first time where my family was like, oh, like I saw you, like people were talking about it back in my small town. And seeing, my family or people around me kind of get excited about that and start to support me and believe in me more really helped me believe in myself more too.
That's great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Music videos are like obviously so different than a
movie. They're a lot of fun though, because it's kind of it's like a lot of improv. Like the director will have you, want to do certain movements or interact with the other actors, and they'll just play the music and you'll do it a bunch of times, and it's just all very natural and fun. And then it's kind of a fun party trick after you have your friends over and you're having a drink or having a dinner, and they'll go, oh, throw in the music video. And it's just kind of like, it doesn't really get old, but it's a really fun way to get into acting, because it's not like really intense character acting. It's just kind of like flirting with someone, or pretending like you're out on a date or partying or something like that. Tokyo, to London or Mexico. Oh, that I said goodbye, but can I still change my mind? I was just there. So you've done like a lot of work over the course of the years, especially your work this year, which we'll get into. But before we jump into that, I want to know, like, when you've done like all this film and like you said, the music video and stuff, like, are you like does each project like hold like a specific thing that you're like proud of? Yeah. Whenever you book something, and that's like the first moment where you're like very excited, and it's a very real high, like when you book something and then when you're on set for it. Every project is obviously different, and you always will have those memories or those relationships you made from those projects that you'll always look back on and remember, or even looking at the behind the scenes photos or videos. Yeah, like I think each one has its own place in my memory and its own stepping stone to kind of where I am today. You might meet someone that's on that set that you end up working with 2 years down the road, and that relationship is always it builds, and so there's more trust, because I think it is definitely an industry where people want to work with people they know. Yeah, like definitely looking back at some of the earlier music videos was like really cool. And then yeah, doing like my first Hallmark movie was like a really cool memory, because we got to travel a little bit, and it was like my first like multiple day on set for like a bigger thing. So that really like has a good spot in my memory. And I think as every actor progresses, there's always going to be that next thing where it has its own special thing in your memory, whether it's your character that you worked on, or how they shot it, or whatever it may be.
Now, this past year, you were on Great American Families station, and you were actually in a Christmas movie called Christmas on Candy Cane Lane, and you played the character Steve. Like, let me just say, like, this was huge for you.
Thank you.
'Cause,
Yeah.
'cause you were like co-starring along like people that everybody loves on television, and like I like to say that now you're one of them because you were in their movies. For people that don't know these people that are watching and listening to this podcast, I'm hoping that you know who these people are, because that would be really sad. But you got
Yeah, of course.
but you got to co-star alongside Andrea Barber, who is best known from Full and Fuller House, and then Dan Payne, who's like, a Disney Channel legend, from
Yeah.
Descendants, um, and obviously loads of other people. So first of all, before like we get into like what the movie is all about and stuff, like
Mhm.
how was like your audition process? Like how did that whole process go? Like
Right.
getting into this movie?
Right. Yeah. So the audition process for that, it was pretty standard, like any other auditions post pandemic. So for people that don't know, in the past, you would go, you would get your notification from your agent saying you have an audition, and you would have to go into the studio and do it live in front of the casting director, and they would be recording it, sending it off to the director. Um, but now, since the pandemic, everything's remote. So you'll get the sides, and then you'll have like a deadline date, and then you film it from your home, or, with your acting coach or whoever it may be, and you'll submit it before the deadline. So for this one, it was a 2 scene audition. There was a lot of scenes where I'm like struggling with a couch. So that was one of them. And then the other one was another one where we're in the squad car essentially. So I just treated it like any other audition. It's really good as an actor not to make any one audition like a huge deal. Like you obviously do your prep and get a feel for the character, and then you have your friend or fellow actor do the reading for the other character off screen. And yeah, I just had some fun with it. I tried to physicalize the character with the couch scenes, and um, you'll find as an actor, there's definitely some characters you can kind of settle into more naturally than others, where, some you might have to do a lot of character work and figure out how this character ticks. But for this one, it was a pretty seamless discovery of the character, because I am, when I'm in the best mood and surrounded by the people I really care for, I can be a bit of a goofball, and um, I'm not dumb, but I think I read that style sometimes on camera in some of my characters. For whatever reason, I can side into that type of character. So I was able just to discover him, and he's a really fun, likable character. And yeah, it only took me a few takes for each scene. So I found him pretty quickly. And then a few weeks later, I got a notification that I was approved by the network, I believe, and then just got the role.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting too, because it was a bit of a frustrating year for me audition wise. It was just a little bit quiet, and I ended up switching agencies and everything, and so for getting this one, and it was like my, I guess the largest role I've done, was a really a big win for me at the time.
Mm. So this A Christmas on Candy Cane Lane, that movie was actually based on a book by Sheila Roberts, and it's an amazing rom-com if anybody didn't get to see it and stuff. But can you like give like maybe like a mini description of what the movie is about for people that haven't?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first saw the plot of the movie, I thought it was pretty cool, because I haven't really seen or heard of a Christmas movie with this type of plot. And what it is, you have your classic Hallmark GAC type of storylines where, small town, there's a couple that have a daughter, and they're not together anymore, but one of them, excuse me, wants to get back together with the other. And there's this relationship between husband and wife and teenage daughter, where you can tell they want to be a family again, and they want to get back together. But basically, the husband had moved away for work. So that was Dan Payne's character. And he regrets it and wants to be back with his wife, who was played by Andrea. And Andrea's character, the mother, she's going through some things, because she is kind of the new realm of Christmas for this town called Candy Cane Lane. And it was her mother who had run it before. She had lost her mother. So she's going through this, getting over, grief, and essentially what we all have to deal with when we lose someone. And at the same time, there's this town, this Candy Cane Lane, where essentially there's all these there's a prankster on the loose who's defacing the candy canes, and there's the neighbors that are getting really upset. And that's where my character Steve comes in. I assist Tilda, one of the other leads, who's on her own journey to find love with Devon. And I'm kind of just, the dorkier, not as well-seasoned cop, but I mean well. And I'm trying to help her out and solve this mystery of crime with these candy canes. And essentially, it all comes full circle at the end, where all the characters essentially find what they're looking for in love around the holidays, which is always a nice way to finish things in a Christmas movie this time of year.
Welcome to a neighborhood.
So this is what you get when you buy a house on Candy Cane Lane.
That celebrates Christmas like no other.
Mom, this Walter's alert. Save yourself while you can.
Oh boy.
You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to smile, and it's just a very feel-good.
It's a long-winded answer, but yeah, it's an intricate plot, I would say, but it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah, it was cool too, because being in Canada, this was seen all across the States, but it was hard for Canadians to actually consume this movie. So when I posted about it, a lot of people back home were saying, oh, like, how do I see it? And then a few days before Christmas, it actually came out on Crave Canada. So then all my friends and family were able to see it easily as well, which was pretty cool, being on one of the main streamers in Canada.
Again, you were working with obviously so many people that America loves. Now, like, what was it like, working with the cast that you were surrounded by in this movie?
Yeah, it was really cool because there was several days on set, so got to know the cast pretty well. Some more than others, just because we're working with different characters more than others. So it definitely felt like a family with even the makeup team and the hair team and the director. Everyone was very lovely to work with, and I was generally sad when it ended. I was actually the very last scene shot in the movie, so it was kind of cool to not only myself be wrapped, but the whole team be wrapped at the same time. So that was a first for me, and that was really cool. It was great sitting around, between takes and everything, with the likes of Dan and Andrea, of course, who, like you said, are legends in the community across the States as well. So I was just trying to soak in all the wisdom and just learn from them, essentially, because if I could have a career like them, that would be a dream come true, obviously. I didn't have actually a scene with Andrea, but I was around to see her, and she was nothing but pleasant on set, and she was really nice to work with and very friendly. And it was fun working with Dan, the one scene that we did together, because we were kind of coming up with some stuff on the spot and doing a little bit of improv, and he was giving some cool ideas. So that was a lot of fun to learn from both of them. And then working with Katrina as well, who played Tilda, that was really fun too. She was we jive with each other a lot, and had a lot of fun with some of the the scenes as well, especially in the squad car.
I want to know, because you didn't just have the cast and the crew on the set. You also had the actual book writer of the movie on set. Did you get to interact with Shayla Roberts, or have I don't know, a conversation?
I actually didn't. The days I was there, I was in and out pretty quick, and I didn't actually get to interact with her, unfortunately. So I missed out on that one.
So the movie is still streaming, so everybody make sure that you check it out, because it's a really good movie. But I want to know, because I always ask this to film actors that I have on here. Do you watch your own movies?
I do, yeah. It was interesting, because when it first came out, I was like, oh, I need to see my scenes to make sure they look good before I watch the movie with family. But yeah, it was really nice it being a Christmas movie, and my family liking Christmas like anyone else. So it was fun to sit down with my family and watch it with them and kind of laugh about it, because obviously I told them about working and everything. So to see it all come together was definitely rewarding and cool, especially over the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's easy to get hypercritical about yourself, but I think I'm I feel like as an actor, you can kind of tell when it feels good and when it's working. And I felt like on set, I was really feeling good about where I was sitting in the character, and I was getting good feedback from the director and the cast. So I had a feeling, I was like, okay, it's gonna look good, I think.
Yeah, totally. For people that like don't know, like, what is it like as like a day in a life, like on set, like such as like Christmas on Candy Cane Lane, or even
Yeah.
the other stuff that you've been,
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. Obviously it depends on the location and the shoot. So there's like definitely different factors. But for example, for Christmas on Candy Cane Lane, it was a little bit outside the city, so it was a bit of a drive. So I'd know what days I was going to be shooting for this production, and then the night before I'd be told my call time. So I'd drive out, whether it's the morning or the afternoon, and a good amount of time between once you arrive to once you go to picture. So you'd arrive, you'd meet with the other crew and kind of be shown where to change into your wardrobe in your trailer, and then you go get your hair and makeup done, and then from there you just have normally a little bit of time just to kind of get in the zone and decompress. So I often like to like warm up my voice and everything before. So sometimes when I'm driving out to set, I'll just be like singing in my car. So that's a good way to kind of do it and kind of gets you in the zone. So I definitely did that. It was actually coincided with unseasonably amazing weather for fall in Vancouver where it was shot. So it was actually sunny every day and like 22 degrees. So I had the roof off of my car, and it was just like really nice with the wind in your hair and listening to your music driving to set. It's like in the sun. That's kind of the dream. And then once, I would go through all my preparations and have all my wardrobe and hair, makeup, maybe a snack. You get taken to the set. And from there, you'll do a walkthrough, a bit of a rehearsal of the scenes. So you'll know what scenes you're doing that day. And you'll have those prepared and be off book, obviously. And once you do all that, then you'll go and sit in the green room, wait for them to set up the cameras and everything. And then you're going and doing your first takes. So you'll generally do your kind of your wide shots first, and then you'll come in and get your coverages. And you might have a few scenes each day, which was the case with me.
Cool.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know, like, when you got this movie, like, when you got your first take out of it, like, how did that feel for you?
Oh yeah, good question. So the first scene I actually shot for this was the scene where actually my character is first introduced. So I'm working on the microwave oven, and I kind of hit my head. So we were kind of just choreographing like how to hit my head without actually hitting my head hard. And like there's a couple times where I like bumped it a little bit harder than I should have, but I kind of just rolled with it. And like obviously for your first take and your first scene, you might have a little bit more jitters than if you're on your fourth or fifth day. So it's just about getting that out of the way. It wasn't like a really heavy first day, so I just had a few lines, and just kind of physicalizing, bumping myself and talking with the characters as if I was just meeting them was kind of what I was doing, because I was just meeting them that day. So I think you just try and take in your surroundings and then use that for your character, and not overthink things your first day.
Do you have like any advice for like those out there that like want to do like what you do?
Yeah. Lots of advice. Where do I begin? So what I'd say is, obviously make sure you love what you're doing, like make sure you enjoy it. When I started out, there's a lot of people that get into acting from all walks of life, and I think a lot of them don't always stick with it. And whether that's because it's harder than they realize, or because they come in with the wrong reasons for why they're doing it. So someone had told me, like, if you want to become rich and famous, there's a lot easier ways to do it. So don't go into acting for that reason. If it happens, like, cool, but shouldn't be the main reason. So I think it's just a matter of like really enjoying what you're doing, and it shouldn't feel like a job each day. So you want to consistently be training and improving and pushing yourself. And so that might be like taking classes weekly or twice a week, scene study classes, audition classes, because it's kind of like going to the gym. Even if like Will Smith or, some of these big actors, they still have acting coaches. So if they have them, like there's no reason anybody else shouldn't have them. So continuing to train, and in believing in yourself, like don't let people tell you can't do it or that it's a long shot, and celebrate the victories as well, I think, along the way. And then another really big one I'd say is like have other things going for yourself. So don't, like, obviously you can go all in with acting and push yourself, but have other things that are going on in your life that like complement it. So, and that might mean like giving you more financial stability, but also it gives you more of a sense of worth. Because a lot of actors, and I felt this way at different stages, is because you're so into acting and that's all you want to do, you tie your successes, whether that means having auditions or bookings or callbacks, you tie that with your sense of like self-worth, essentially. So if all of a sudden acting's quiet, or maybe, you're struggling on a scene that month, you'll start to get in a dark place where you'll start to doubt yourself and you'll think, oh, what can I do this? Like, should I do this? I'm a failure. And, oh, like, how am I going to, support a family one day or something if I can't even like get a job, essentially. So I think it's just having other things that complement your acting and allow you to work on yourself. So for example, for me, I started my own tourism business. So it's a walking tour of the movie industry in Vancouver. So essentially I have guides hired and they go and showcase all the filming locations in Vancouver to locals and tourists. So it allows myself to, kind of give back to the acting community, educate the public on the film industry. And it's something that I built that I'm proud of. That's a business that can grow, and it can grow with me as I grow with acting.
Yeah.
And that's called Vancouver Film and TV Tours is the name of the business. And then, sorry, I have a lot of advice. And then the last piece of advice I'd say is don't wait around for someone to give you the green light, to give you the job, to give you the opportunity. When you're, say you don't have a gig or anything, you got to continually be working. So that's taking classes, and that's trying to make your own content or networking. So I've actually gotten into producing now. So I'll be one of the producers on a post-apocalyptic sci-fi movie next year, which our team is really excited about. And it's really cool because as a producer, you get to see the other side of the film industry. And this is where, you are starting to be able to cast yourself at times, because why audition for someone else when you can just audition for yourself and book yourself, essentially, right? So I think, yeah, like writing scripts and making your own content is a great way to get seen and network with more people. And it can lead to more jobs and working with other people, because you're not working against each other. You're all working together to build yourself up and be successful with your peers in this very challenging industry.
That kind of actually leads me to like the next question that I have for you is that I see that you kind of have like one of like the same passions that I have is like video editing.
Oh yeah.
So like, what do you love about doing that? Because like it's like I feel like no one understands it unless you do it.
Yeah. Well, that's very cool. I think it is a very fun thing, and obviously it can be a great career as well. I often tell people if I didn't go all in with acting, I would probably go all in and be a videographer, because the lifestyle of videographers, it was always very appealing. They're always like traveling the world and like going to epic locations and events and filming it, and it just seems very epic. But yeah, from like a young age, I just always liked like making videos. So that might have been my first like interest in like media and film and acting. I was like 10 years old and I used to like make videos of me jumping snow drifts on like a GT racer. So like from very early on, I like to do that. And yeah, I think it's just really fun. It's a creative outlet. Sometimes I like picture life and picture it like a movie with like, say you're like walking down the street and you're listening to like a really dope song. I'll picture like, oh, all the cuts you can do with that. And
Yeah.
it's just really fun to be creative and like tell a story and captivate a cool event or location. So yeah, I've done a bit of work of that, and I've had like clients before, but I've kind of transitioned my focus to that as more of like a hobby now.
Yeah. Yeah, like what's next for you? Like obviously, you've conquered a lot, and especially this year, and we're going into like obviously a new year. But
Mhm.
like what's next for you? Like any upcoming things like you want to do or that you're gonna do that you could say or you know?
Yeah, like I said, I'm producing this sci-fi apocalyptic movie, so we're just in pre-production for that right now, and looking at a pretty big budget as well. So that might be a really big thing for myself and our team and all of our careers. There will be a role for that. I believe that I'll be in that movie as well. But it'll be cool to be in the producing side as well. So that's like definitely the big thing on the horizon. It tends to be with acting, like gigs kind of pop up pretty quick. Like you audition for one thing, and then a week later, you got it, and then a week and a half later, you're on set. So with those things, I'm not too sure, but I imagine there'll be some more roles and bookings in the new year, because I feel like I have a good streak on right now. So I think there'll be some more bookings in the new year.
Awesome. Before we go, I want to play a little quick game with you. I kind of
Sure.
like started this up again. Ready?
Ready.
All right. Christmas or candy cane?
Christmas.
A ROM or a COM?
Calm.
TikTok or Insta?
Insta.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Skiing or skating?
Oh, skiing. I like hockey and skiing, but I'll go with skiing.
Cookies or candy canes?
Cookies.
Go back in time or in the future?
Oh, go back in time.
Icicle or falls?
Balls.
Naughty or nice?
Naughty.
2022 or 2023?
2023. Woo.
You did it.
Nice. Oh, we made it just in time.
Great. Is there like any social medias like that people could follow you on or stay updated with you, especially in the new year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was lucky and I got an Instagram pretty early. So it's just my name for my Instagram handle. So just at Austin Trapp, and it's Trapp with 2 P's. So that's where I post all my up-to-date projects and things I'm working on. So that would be the main one. Also, yeah, if people are ever curious about the movie industry in Vancouver, my business, Vancouver Film and TV Tours, we have an Instagram for that, and that teaches people more about the booming film industry in Vancouver. So we call Vancouver like Hollywood North. So it's actually, I believe it's the 3rd largest production city in North America. So if people are ever in Vancouver and want to be on a tour, sometimes I actually guide them, and I also have a group of guides that lead the tours through downtown, and they're all like established actors that are working on shows like The Flash and The Good Doctor and Riverdale. So it'd be a really cool experience, I think, for anyone that's in town. They can check that one out too.
Great.
And thanks for having me too. This was fun, and it's nice to from what I understand, you're growing with your acting and doing theater and really on that grind. So it's awesome you're getting started early on in your life, and I'm sure if you work hard and believe, there's no reason you can't succeed.
Well, thanks. Yeah. Thank you so much, Austin.
Yeah. Thank you. All the best in your podcast and theater journey.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much for listening and watching to My World with Stories podcast. For more info, go to Instagram and Facebook at My World with Stories podcast, and make sure that you give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, whatever you want. Do it, because we love you guys so much. And